Did you know it's actually dangerous for you to be close to God? Now, they don't teach these things in Sunday school, but it's actually critical for you to understand before you make the decision to give your life in full surrender to the Lord. Make sure you guys watch this entire video, because I'm telling you, it's actually life altering. It will change your life. And with that being said, guys, let's get straight into this one. Now, choosing to follow God, choosing to surrender your life to Him and give Him everything is the greatest decision you can ever make. But it does not come without a cost. Now, in this video, I'm going to warn you of the cost of following the Lord, okay? Now listen, hear me out. In the Bible, those who got closer to God, there came more of a cost, more responsibility for their actions, and greater consequences for their actions, for their sin. Okay? When you get closer and closer to God, you suddenly become, in the spirit, more liable, more accountable, more responsible for your actions. There's greater judgment on you and your life. This is one of the reasons why the Bible talks about judging believers, but not judging unbelievers. Why? Because believers are held accountable by the Lord. This is one of the reasons why it is so dangerous to be a lukewarm Christian. Because as a Christian, you claim to know Christ. You claim to be a follower of Christ. You claim, right, to be somebody that loves God, yet by your actions, by your fruit, you reflect and represent the devil. It's easy to say you love God, to say you know God, but to not actually surrender to Him, okay? So what I'm saying is, when you get closer to God, it becomes more dangerous. Watch. In the Bible, when the priest went inside of the temple into a holier place, closer and closer to the Holy of Holies, what would happen? So first, they would have to adorn the priest, give the priest his royal garments, right? The priest would have to cleanse himself, go through what's called ceremonial ritual cleansing, in order to make sure that he was pure enough to enter the Holy of Places. And he had to make sure that he was considered blameless in the sight of God. Why? Because if he entered the Holy of Holies and he did not follow the ritualistic cleansing, he did not follow the law, he did not follow the commands that God gave him, he would drop dead. He would die. Why? Because what happens is, when you are in a holy place with God, when you are in that close a proximity with God, sin cannot be in a place like that without consequences, without death. When you enter the glory of God, the fear of God comes upon you. And what happens is, when you are in the glory of God, the Spirit of God, His glory, tests you and tries you in every way to see if you are found worthy to be in His midst. In the Bible, Judas Iscariot partook in communion. Jesus said this: the one that betrays me, right? The one that betrays me will take the bread and dip it. Okay? Judas Iscariot took the bread, dipped it, took communion. He partook in the Lord's Supper, yet in his heart, he was truly an op, trading Jesus for money. Now, Satan entered him as soon as he partook in communion. This is what the Bible says. It was the legal right, an access point for the devil to get in, because he partook in something that was holy and set apart for God's people, yet in his heart, he was far from the Lord. Okay, he was close to Jesus. There were great consequences because of this for Judas. Now, the closer you get to God, the deeper you get with God, the further you get with the Lord, as you start to encounter him, as you start to experience him, as his presence starts to fall upon you, as you start to taste his glory, suddenly God requires more from you. God requires more from your life. God tests you more. The judgment of the Lord is upon you in a greater level. And if you touch things that are impure, you touch things that are unholy, you partake in something of God, right? But if your life, or if in your heart there is evil, there's a chance that Satan can have legal access to you. Suddenly there are greater consequences for your fault. Now, if somebody falls into sin, okay, let me put it this way. If a person that is close to the Lord, that has encountered God their whole life, suddenly falls into the sin of lust, suddenly Satan has more access to that person, right? This person, there is greater consequences coming to them. There are greater curses upon them, right? Because of what they have seen, what they have tasted, what they have done, what they have experienced. And now that they have fallen into sin, there's greater consequences than the average person that has never touched the Lord, that has never encountered God, that has never had experience with the Lord, right? And they fall into lust, right? And they have continued to do that, and they're in that pattern, and they're doing it all the time. For them, there is actually less degree of consequences than the person that has touched the Lord and has touched the things of the devil. That is why lukewarm Christianity, another reason why it's so dangerous, because when you touch the things of God and touch the world, there is a heavier degree of punishment for you. God holds you accountable, okay? You can't partake in the Lord's table and the table of demons. It does not work that way. So today, what I'm just trying to do is warn you. If you're gonna make the choice to follow God, surrender your life to him, give him your everything, walk with him, encounter him, live for him, you better make sure that you stay away from the things of this world. You stay away from the things of Satan. You stay away from the worldly things, okay? Like even listening to secular music. As you get deeper and deeper with God, the things that are unholy, even the things that are just worldly and aren't necessarily wicked, you can't touch those things because you've touched the Lord. So now you're pure. And the closer you are to the Lord, right? The priests were held to a higher standard in the Bible. The Levites were held to a higher standard in the Bible because they were touching the holier things. They were getting deeper with God. They were held to a higher standard than some of the other people that were following God because they were called to be into the holy place. So if you want to go deep with God, you got to make sure that your life follows. The purity in your life follows. You got to make sure you're set apart, you're living holy. You're not touching the things of this world, like the worthless things, like the video games of this world, the music of this world, the movies and all the garbage of this world that does nothing for you, that's worldly. As you get deep with God, you can't touch these things because there is greater consequences for your actions. You have to make sure you remain pure, you remain spotless, you remain holy. Okay, with all that being said, that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope the Lord has imparted something to you through this video. I hope God has spoken to you through this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. I'm very curious and interested to hear what you think about this. With that being said, hey, God bless you all. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.